The cryptocurrency world has once again exploded into a frenzy of excitement and speculation as a mysterious public document from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco has begun to make its way via forums, Twitter threads, and Telegram groups. It would be easy to think that the document is nothing more than a straightforward government-style assessment of instantaneous payment methods and strategies for modernizing settlement processes over the long term based on a cursory examination of it. However, crypto sleuths started going over it with a fine-toothed comb and found more speculative connections the deeper they delved, ultimately discovering links to the very technology that Ripple has been promoting for more than 10 years. Although the document does not explicitly state that the Federal Reserve is making use of XRP or Ripple's network, the community has chosen to interpret certain phrases, including real-time settlement, low cost, cross-border movement, high-speed value transfer, and interoperable systems as possible indications that the Fed is either investigating or exploring technologies that are comparable to those that Ripple has constructed. Regardless of whether those linkages are accurate or the result of imagination, the excitement that they produced spread rapidly throughout the XRP ecosystem. Screenshots of the document began circulating online almost immediately, and each of them was covered in red circles, arrows, zoom callouts, and dramatic captions that suggest that the Federal Reserve may be significantly further along in its research of blockchain than they have publicly discussed. People called attention to statements that appeared to be disturbingly similar to Ripple's long-standing mission, which includes the following objectives: increasing the effectiveness of settlements, minimizing friction between nations, and developing a real-time infrastructure that is capable of connecting financial institutions from all around the world. This was the exact type of statement that several XRP holders had been anticipating for years to hear from institutions in the United States. Despite the fact that the text does not explicitly name Ripple, the concepts that were shared between the two were sufficient to give rise to a brand new surge of speculation that was both intense and fervent. At this point, content makers began to weigh in by providing dramatic voiceovers that established a connection between the ideas presented in the document and the many years of research, partnerships, and pilot initiatives that Ripple has conducted all over the world. They emphasize the fact that Ripple has been working on cross-border settlement for a very long time. In fact, long before the majority of governments ever acknowledged blockchain as a technology that is to be taken seriously. Ripple has been working in partnership with central banks all over the world on pilot programs that are researching digital currencies and the process of tokenizing settlement infrastructure, according to their observations. As a result, the story began to pick up steam. In the event that Ripple is already collaborating with international organizations, it is not unreasonable to assume, at least in theory, that the United States might also be investigating similar technology in the background. An explosive theory was about to be put forth due to the combination of this narrative and the obscure language that was found in the paper. It is possible that the Federal Reserve is farther advanced in the process of adopting blockchain technology than anyone had previously assumed. The suspicion became even more pronounced when critics started making connections between the document and the Digital Dollar Project, which is a research program in the United States that is exploring the possible design of a digital currency for a central bank. XRP advocates say that the United States will eventually need a bridge asset for cross-border CBDC interactions, even while the Digital Dollar Project officially focuses on high-level architectural concepts and does not promote any specific ledger or token. They maintain that the XRP ledger is an excellent choice because of its speed, decentralization, and efficiency. Although this concept is now still entirely theoretical, it has gained a life of its own, resulting in arguments that have lasted for hours in live streams, X Spaces, Discord channels, and YouTube comment sections. The idea that blockchain will serve as the foundation for financial institutions in the future, and that XRP may have a significant role to play in integrating central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, throughout the world is the foundation of the theory. At the point when the speculation had reached its zenith, Twitter was inundated with dramatic posts, some of which asserted that there were hidden clues buried deep within the document of the Federal Reserve. They labeled me as delusional because I claimed that the Federal Reserve would investigate Ripple. You can see for yourself by reading page 47, they stated. Additionally, they included pictures of highlighted passages that emphasized the significance of cross-border settlement that was cost-effective. These posts may appear to be over the top to those who are merely observing from the sidelines. However, in the XRP community, which has spent many years scrutinizing every government document that is related to payments, these talks felt as like they were confirming that the situation was far more serious than people had previously thought. In a short amount of time, the theory evolved into a more elaborate hypothesis that XRP's sluggish price performance may not be due to organic factors, but may instead be the outcome of a deliberate accumulation of XRP by influential organizations that would wish XRP to stay undervalued until the development of the new financial infrastructure is complete. For years, this notion has been circulating in XRP circles, frequently portraying XRP as the sleeping behemoth that is intentionally being kept silent until the world is prepared for it. Even though there is no substantiated proof to support this narrative, it continues to be extremely well-liked since it is consistent with the conviction that XRP's genuine worth will only become evident until the transition of global institutions to blockchain-based settlement is finished. This narrative was given a fresh lease on life by the discourse that was sparked by the document from the Federal Reserve, providing people who have faith with a new justification for their assertion that the cost is being artificially kept low in order to accumulate. Over the course of the day, crypto influencers and analysts uploaded extensive films that delved into every aspect of the rumor, making a genuine effort to put together a bigger picture of financial modernization. They had a conversation about the development of global payment systems, the necessity for technologies that settle transactions more quickly, and the slow and steady move away from older infrastructures such as SWIFT. They made a comparison between the blockchain evolution of the present day and earlier technical revolutions, including the creation of the internet, the transition from paper to electronic trading, and the emergence of mobile banking. Many people have expressed the opinion that blockchain represents the next logical step in financial innovation, and that assets such as XRP have the potential to play a big role once governments and institutions adopt the technology on a large scale. The conversation was widened even more at this point, and the community began to debate what the architecture of global payments will look like in the future. Is it likely that governments would develop their own ledgers from the ground up? Would they be willing to work in partnership with companies in the private sector? Would they opt for frameworks that can connect numerous blockchains and are interoperable with one another? Or instead, would a single, extremely efficient ledger be able to fuel all of the operations that take place behind the scenes? The reason that XRP was frequently brought up in these conversations was that the asset was specifically created to function as a bridge between currencies, a facilitator of cross-border interactions, and a neutral settlement token that is capable of integrating various financial systems. The speculation grew to epic proportions as an increasing number of people joined in on the discussion. People took another look at Ripple's prior partnerships with international institutions, their participation with central banks on the investigation of digital currencies, and their highly technical studies on the management of liquidity. They drew attention to the fact that Ripple has been making preparations for the adoption of blockchain technology by institutions since the very beginning of the blockchain era, which predates the existence of the majority of cryptocurrency initiatives. This is the reason why, in the eyes of many supporters, any new institutional document that in any way at all bears even a passing resemblance to Ripple's technology provides the impetus for a new round of investigation. A few members of the community, having delved deeply into the speculation, embarked on an ambitious endeavor to predict prices, envisioning the potential future worth of XRP if technology similar to Ripple's were to be implemented on a large scale. They constructed theoretical models that were based on global liquidity, wholesale settlement, corridors for central bank digital currencies, and international financial flows. In these speculative scenarios, the estimates of $5,000 per XRP or even more were not presented as financial forecasts. Rather, they were presented as imaginative possibilities that were connected to the total global settlement volume. These numbers are frequently encountered in the most very bullish areas of the XRP community. And to be honest, they are frequently given more as intellectual exercises than as genuine expectations. However, they are able to maintain the momentum of the conversation and contribute to its liveliness. As the plot continues to unfold, the script delves more deeply into the cultural phenomenon that is associated with XRP. The asset possesses a community that is among the most enthusiastic and committed to be found in the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. This community has stood up to regulatory challenges, has been confronted with stagnation in prices, and has faced years of uncertainty. Nonetheless, continues to maintain a strong conviction in the idea that XRP will someday be an important component of the world's financial system. This conviction is not merely centered on technology. It is centered on identity, resilience, and the notion that the world is gradually becoming aware of something that the XRP community has been aware of for a number of years. Even when it was interpreted through the lens of speculation,